Processed meats, bacon, sausages, ham, hot dogs, and deli slices are among the most insidious dietary threats for people with high blood pressure. At first glance, they might seem like convenient, tasty proteins, but the reality is far more dangerous. These foods combine several factors that can aggressively worsen hypertension, and their consumption is often habitual and underappreciated in its risks. The most immediate concern is sodium. Processed meats are heavily salted, often far beyond what the body needs. As previously discussed, high sodium intake leads to water retention and elevated blood pressure, but with processed meats, the sodium isn't the only problem. These foods also contain preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, which are added to extend shelf life and enhance color. While nitrates themselves are relatively harmless, under certain conditions in the body, they can convert into compounds called nitrosamines, which are associated with vascular damage and increased cardiovascular risk. This means that each bite of processed meat is not only raising blood pressure in the short term, but maybe subtly contributing to long-term arterial injury and inflammation. Beyond chemical additives, the high saturated fat content in many processed meats exacerbates the problem. Saturated fats can promote the buildup of plaque inside arteries, stiffening the vessels and making them less able to accommodate surges in blood pressure. Imagine forcing water through a series of old, narrow pipes. The heart has to work harder with each pulse, and over time, this extra strain can lead to left ventricular hypertrophy, a thickening of the heart muscle that increases the risk of heart failure and irregular heart rhythms. One of the most concerning aspects of processed meats is how stealthily they affect overall health. Unlike the sharp and immediate spike from extremely salty snacks, the effects of processed meats accumulate slowly over months and years. Regular consumption can silently increase blood pressure, promote inflammation, and gradually compromise vascular health. Many people assume that a few slices of ham or bacon are harmless, but when eaten daily, or even several times a week, the cumulative effect can be devastating. Scientific studies have repeatedly linked regular processed meat consumption with higher rates of hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and even stroke. Processed meats also often come packaged with other hidden hazards. They are calorie-dense, frequently paired with refined carbs like bread and sandwiches, or fried alongside other unhealthy foods. This combination accelerates weight gain and insulin resistance, which themselves are risk factors for hypertension. Essentially, processed meats act like a triple threat. Sodium spikes blood pressure acutely, saturated fats damage arteries chronically, and preservatives create long-term vascular stress. Even low-sodium, or nitrate-free processed meats are not entirely safe. Low-sodium versions can still contain enough salt to affect blood pressure, and nitrate-free meats often rely on other chemical preservatives or sugar additives, which can contribute to metabolic stress. Eating processed meats in moderation may seem harmless, but the risks increase dramatically with frequency and portion size. A daily habit of even small servings can accelerate hypertension silently, leaving a person unaware until serious cardiovascular complications arise. The hidden danger is not limited to adults. Processed meats are often staples in children's diets, lunch meats, hot dogs, bacon at breakfast, potentially setting the stage for lifelong hypertension and heart disease. Early exposure to high sodium and saturated fats primes the vascular system for long-term vulnerability. Finally, processed meats interact negatively with other lifestyle factors. Pairing them with alcohol, sugary drinks, or a sedentary lifestyle multiplies the risk. The combination of elevated blood pressure, arterial stiffness, and inflammation is a recipe for early-onset heart disease, stroke, and kidney damage. In essence, processed meats are not just a minor risk. For people with hypertension, they're a serious dietary hazard that requires constant vigilance. In conclusion, bacon, sausages, deli slices, and other processed meats are deceptively dangerous. They pack a powerful combination of sodium, saturated fat, and chemical preservatives, each amplifying the other's harmful effects. Regular consumption slowly but relentlessly damages arteries, elevates blood pressure, and increases the risk of life-threatening cardiovascular events. For anyone with hypertension, processed meats are far more than a guilty pleasure. They are a silent, cumulative threat that can undermine years of careful blood pressure management, often without any obvious warning until irreversible damage has already occurred.